Hi everyone, it's Ellen and today I have a new scrapbook video to share with you. So today I'm working with Cocoa Vanilla Studio These Days collection, and I'm starting off with a few of these gorgeous pattern papers. So I've got that beautiful white floral pattern. I love that paper, it's so pretty, and I've torn a large strip of that and I'm going to put that down the centre of my page. And then I wanted a bit of separation between that pattern piece and the background paper, so I've torn a small strip of this peachy floral pattern paper just to separate the background from that main strip. At the minute I'm thinking I'm going to use a white cardstock as my background, but I changed that. I ended up going for a wood grain pattern. I just felt like it suited it better. So I'm just going to attach these pieces all together so I can move them around as one large piece. It just makes it a little bit simpler, especially because the pattern paper strips that I've torn from the peach coloured pattern paper are really thin and they were curling up and it was irritating me. So yeah, I've just added some sellotape just on the back just to make my life a bit easier. And yeah, that's how it's going to look with those pattern paper torn strips down the centre of my background. I'm going to distress all of my edges with my edge distressing tool, and they're already ripped, so they're already a little distressed, but I just wanted to enhance that a little. And I've trimmed down some of the peach pattern papers just so that's a little bit thinner. I just preferred how that looked. So here is where I changed my mind. I actually did create a background on the white cardstock and I hated it, so I've just cut that out of the video and I'm going to start working with the wood grain pattern paper here. Now the piece I had wasn't quite big enough to be A4, so I've got a piece of white A4 paper, just printer paper, and I'm going to lay my pattern papers on top of that and then stick it down so that the gap in the middle is hidden by the torn paper strip, and once it's all together you can't tell that the wood grain paper isn't a full A4 size strip. So that worked really well, and I'm sticking it to the white paper just to make it easier. I could have stuck the papers together without the background white paper because you don't see that at all, but I was just trying to make my life easy for this layout. So yeah, you'll see once I lay that the torn pattern paper strips on top, it looks like it's a full sheet. So yeah, I was really happy with that. I am going to add a little bit of mixed media, nothing too crazy, but I've just quickly drawn round the torn pattern papers with a pencil so I can plan where I want my mixed media to go. I've got this really pretty cross stencil. I think this is from Dusty Attic, and I'm just passing my texture paste through that in a few areas across the page, and they will poke out behind my pattern paper strips and my embellishments that I add later on. And then adding some white splatters with some watered down gesso. I like to do this when I use texture paste because if the texture paste doesn't go through perfectly, it sort of masks that a little, so it doesn't matter that it isn't all perfectly formed into the crosses because I've added the splatters on top. Yeah, it just hides any little mistakes and things. Plus I love white splatters, particularly on a dark wood grain pattern paper. I think that looks really striking. So I'm going to let that dry, ready to stick my pattern papers on top, and I'm going to add some foam squares between the two layers of pattern paper to give it more dimension. I've added it on the wrong bit here, so I'm just moving those onto the back of the white pattern paper. Yeah, and it just pops up that white pattern paper a little bit more. I can now get my torn paper strips stuck down onto my background because everything is nice and dry, and I've just done that with some double-sided tape in the centre, and then I'm also adding some tacky glue just to make sure that's really stuck, particularly over the texture paste, because obviously there's a lot of dimension and I want my pattern paper to be stuck down well. So I'm just using my fine liner bottle there to do that, and you can see I've got nice dimension on my pattern papers from those foam squares that I added earlier, so I'm just taking the back off of all of them to get that stuck down too. So trimmed off the excess edges of my pattern papers, and I've got my photo here of Theo. This was one of his first ever smiles, which is a lovely moment to capture. And I've backed that with some white card as always. This is a colourful picture, so I wanted to create that separation between the picture and my embellishments. I'm then going through the ephemera pieces. There are a lot of florals in this collection, as there always are with Cocoa Vanilla, which is why I love their collection so much. And I want to create a diagonal line of florals and leaves and things over where I've added the texture paste. So you still see bits of the texture paste coming through, but yeah, was really going for that diagonal line. And it takes me a little while to get everything in sort of the composition that I want, and then I have to take it all off to stick it all down, which is really handy. I've got that little watering can with the flowers in it at the moment. I don't end up using that because I felt like it was just covering up a bit too much of my photo, and you don't really want to do that in scrapbooking because that's supposed to be, you know, the main focus of the page. I am backing my photo onto some more of that pink peach coloured pattern paper, just a thin border of that, and I'll distress the edges as well. And yeah, the florals, how I've got them here, are pretty much how they're going to stay. And then I also back it onto some yellow pattern paper. It's sort of a crosshatch design, because I want to incorporate a nice pop of yellow to mix in with these colours. I think that looks really pretty, and I've already got yellow on the pattern papers and in some of my florals, so I wanted to make sure I got a nice pop of that on there. I've distressed the edge of that as well, and now I believe I get my photo stuck down. So I'm going to add some foam just in the centre of my photo, because on either side the pattern paper is propped up with foam squares. So I wanted to make sure it was level, basically. I've then got these gorgeous foam title pieces, and I want to use the ones that say always happy, because that really describes Theo. He is such a happy boy. It's very rare that he's unhappy, even when he's not feeling well or is tired or anything else. He's always smiling, always laughing, so I thought that was absolutely perfect for this smiley photo of him. And I've just trimmed them out and kept them on the plastic at the moment, just so I can figure out where I want them to go. They do actually stay where they are now, where you see them now, but I wasn't entirely sure when I decided to use them, so I've kept them on the plastic for now. I want to use these beautiful clear stickers from the collection. I'm using a couple of sort of paint swipes just to block out some of the photo where I'm going to overlap my title, and I go back and use some more of those later on. I've got the sticker sheet here, and again I'm looking at my ephemera pieces. That's the watering can is gone now because that just wasn't going to work, especially when I stuck my title down on here, it would be covered up anyway. I've got my title stuck down now, and I'm going to start sticking down all of these floral embellishments. Like I said, they mainly stay where I had originally put them as best as I could. And as I always do with my florals, I'm sticking some down flat, some propped on foam squares. I just want to create layers of dimension with those florals. I love dimension on my pages, and the florals are a really nice way to add that in. So here I've got the bottom corner stuck down, and now I'm working on the top corner, and I've made sure to get a range of different colours and shapes of the florals. There are so many, like I said, and I wanted to really focus on the peach and yellow florals with just a little pop of the other colours, because the other colours are in the pattern paper that I've used. I've also made sure to add in some black and white leaf sprigs. I absolutely love them, and I know I'm going to have the pop of black on my page from my title, so I wanted to make sure I had more black on the page as well. Stuck my photo down now so I can add the happy part of my title underneath, and I'm really pleased with how this is looking. I think this is looking really striking and pretty at the moment. I'm adding a few bits of the sort of like leaf sprigs from the foam title stickers. I think those are really pretty, and here I'm adding those foam squares to some more florals. I mainly do it sort of on the outer leaves or on one edge, just to create those different layers like I mentioned before. I've added some more of those foam leaf sprigs tucked into my flower clusters, and then I've gone back to this clear sticker sheet, and there are some cross shapes, and I've dotted them around the page as well, overlapping the florals and things. I thought that worked perfectly because that's the stencil that I used in the background, and I hadn't planned this. That was just a happy accident, which was lovely. I'm going to add a couple of the little word stickers from the sticker sheet. One says "Oh my heart" and one says "Lucky Us," which I thought was perfect. And just adding those to the top of my photo because of the bottom of the photo is looking a bit heavy with those, with the title piece, so I thought the word stickers at the top of the photo would balance that out a little. I've sewn around the edge of my page with a messy white stitch on my sewing machine, and I'm now adding some black splatters as well. Again, some of the black areas are looking a tad out of place to me, so I've used a really thin paintbrush to create really small black splatters. I didn't want it to be too overpowering, but it just needed that extra pop of black for me, so I've added that. Again, focusing on my flower clusters, and that's my page all finished. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you very much for being here. Bye everyone.